Hey guys, Stock Saturday, and I thought I'd just mention the free share link on Trading212 is open again, so you can join and get a free share up to £100. So just looking at the portfolio in total, up about 2,000, despite sort of some fair drops. The sort of car market does seem to be doing reasonably well. Stellantis and Volkswagen sort of doing okay. Process sort of dropping down with 10 cents still coming down, although they are still making acquisitions, so still sort of keen to maybe top those up a little bit later. Shell not doing too bad. The oil and sort of gas prices are volatile, but sort of have been slightly increasing. Semiconductors in general really have done quite well this week, despite sort of continuing bad news. Apple obviously tailing back their iPhone production, so that hurts TSMC, and yeah, just surprisingly, everything's sort of doing quite well. Hymax was up about 13% for the week. Yeah, sort of Samsung and Micron sort of doing reasonably well. Not quite as well as Hymax, but that's a small cap, so fair enough. House builders and sort of UK property sector at least not doing all that well. The REITs sort of in the ISA sort of similar, and sort of Barrett and Taylor Wimpey not doing all that well. US side sort of doesn't seem to have been hit quite so bad. Miners, they were doing quite well. Vale and sort of Glencore in particular. Rio Tinto sort of doing okay, but not quite as well. But Vale up sort of 10%, I think, for the week. Surprising, but it's very up and down at the moment. Yeah, Broadcom, as I say, doing pretty well with the rest of the semiconductors. Meta platforms still sort of not following the tech run up. So sort of Alphabet and most of the Fang stocks, other than Meta, have been sort of had a reasonably good week, but Meta not so much. The sort of Quest Pro headset that they released is not getting the best reception, and people sort of thinking businesses aren't going to use it, and they may be sort of a little bit too soon in their mega investment into the metaverse. It's sort of maybe not going to take off, and it is just going to sort of suck money for a long while. I'm a little bit more bullish, but yeah, not something that I've sort of been looking to add recently. Would like to sort of see a little bit more from earnings maybe this quarter and next quarter, just to see how the sort of existing family of apps, as they call it, is doing. Hopefully, that can still sort of provide money for the rest of the stuff. Porsche, yeah, same sort of down slightly, but it does seem to be separated from Volkswagen at the moment. I expect there's a lot of sort of issues going on with the spin-off of Porsche itself, so I'm sure that'll level out in the end. No additions. No, I don't even think I got any dividends this week. So, yeah, not a huge amount of change. On the ISA side, Argo blockchain taken a very large hit again this week, down about 18%. I've still not put in my £100 in dividends. I was going to probably put into them, with it being such a low price now. I actually get probably about 1,000 shares, so that's not too bad. I was kind of waiting for Bitcoin maybe to sort of have one last leg down, and presumably this would come down. And yeah, they're sort of saying that they've got liquidity for 12 months. So if you believe that, I think we could be getting towards a crypto bottom at some point. Whether it would sort of rocket up from there, I don't know. But yeah, a little bit of a risk, I think, worth taking, just with some dividend money. Or if you like, a bit of high risk. Sylvania sort of does seem to be rising, basically just because of the large dividend. I think they go ex-dividend middle of next week. So yeah, that's sort of did touch a pound I think yesterday. But yeah, that should be a reasonably good dividend. It's not coming until early December. But yeah, the American REITs, as I say, sort of doing reasonably well. American Tower didn't move all that much, but Stag had a sort of couple of percent move up, and Digital Realty up 6%, I believe, for the week. So that's not too bad. But the Tritaxes, UK stuff, as I say, sort of not doing too well. Those are both down. Arc Genomics ETF is also down. That's not doing too well with the sort of risk unprofitable tech sell-off. Not something that I'm again looking to add at the moment. It's been a long while since I added anything to that. First Majestic Silver, I couldn't quite understand. Silver's down, and that's done quite well for the week. So need to look into that and see if there's any news. Yeah, Vici sort of done okay, and yeah, not a lot of sort of movement in the very smaller stuff. And then yeah, just the smaller ISA is not really done all that much. As I say, Argo blockchain sort of coming down. Hive blockchain has sort of come down slightly. Pan American Silver done pretty well for the week, as I say. Again, not quite sure what's happening there because silver hasn't moved all that much. But yeah, let us know if you know what's happening with the silver miners, because I couldn't quite understand it. Yes, and so just sort of taking a look at the news for the week. We did have UK and EU inflation numbers, which were pretty poor. So we had core CPI for the UK up from the expectations of 0.5%. It was 0.6%. So this is excluding the food and energy costs, and the sort of normal CPI was still 0.5% anyway. So yeah, that's not coming down. The annual's still sort of pretty high. Annual core and annual normal CPI actually went up. So that's not too good, but I do focus on the sort of monthlies more than the annual. I think you've got to look sort of forward looking really, rather than the last 12 months. And then EU faring even worse than us. Core up 1%. That was what was forecast, but I guess people were probably hoping that it wasn't quite as bad as that. And the normal CPI 1.2% for the month. So yeah, that's sort of a hell of a lot on the annual. 9.9% on the annual, but sort of if you were to annualise 1.2%, that is pretty bad. But 0.6% last month, so not quite that bad. This was just a particularly bad month. But yeah, I think that doesn't bode too well for sort of more interest rate rises. I'm not convinced that they're going to go all that much further. I've sort of mentioned that. I think maybe towards the end of the year, something probably will break in the sort of financial markets, similar to what's happened before, or sort of just countries not being able to afford their debts, basically, as sort of bonds start rolling over, into these higher rates. The short-term ones, at least, they've still got their long-term bonds, I guess, that they issued sort of in the depths of the low interest rate environment. So they'll probably have those for 10, 20 years or whatever, but all the short-term stuff that then rolls over onto sort of 3%, 4% is causing, I would imagine, going to cause a bit of an issue. So yeah, we'll see where things go sort of in the next few months. I'm sort of still battening down the hatches and sort of waiting for one last drop. I've still got we've got nearly £10,000 in £9,500 in cash, and a little bit in the current account. So yeah, we'll see. Probably do half of that into crypto, I would have thought, if we get one last drop, and half into stocks. I may even put a little bit into interactive brokers, as I sort of mentioned before, and go for some call options, which I think could get very, very cheap. The sort of year and a half, 2.5 year call options, I think could be a decent move. So we'll see what happens. Let us know your thoughts, how your portfolio's doing. Maybe sign up to the free share link if you get a chance, or you haven't got an account. And like and subscribe. See you soon.